says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you lusting is the one you're loving?
Ivy is turning her income as Beyonce's dancer into $6 million tax-free dollars during retirement. I'm Mrs. Dow Jones, millennial finance expert, and here's how the kids in your life can grow tax-free wealth too. Step one, get the child a job. In order for this hack to work, your child needs taxable income. They could scoop ice cream, caddy at a golf course, or if you have your own business, just hire them. That's what Beyonce and Jay-Z did. Blue has been on their payroll since she was born. No, literally, Jay-Z hired her at 2 days old to cry on his song Glory. Step two, open the child a custodial Roth IRA. These are the same as regular Roth IRAs. The contribution limit is the same, $6,500 a year, except they're for kids and you have to open it for them. Step three, fund and invest the account. If Blue maxes out her custodial Roth contributions every year till she's 18, and it grows 8%, which is average for the S&P 500 and compounds annually, by the time she's 59 and a half, she'll have over $6 million tax-free dollars. And she'll only have put in $117K. How nuts is that?
Wow. So I saw this on TikTok or one of them social media platforms. And I said, let me get our resident expert to see, first of all, fact check, but make sure that all of the information here is valid and also how we can benefit from it. Let me welcome y'all. Listen to him on Saturday mornings on Urban View, channel 126. We're talking powers and becomes action. And we absolutely love Mr. Lou Hutt is here.
Hey, Karen, and thank you so much for inviting me. This is a provocative topic, and I give you a lot of credit. I mean, listen, you have a nose for these type of issues. I mean,
Listen, I've been having to be inundated by Blue Ivy dancing from the beginning to now when she's like really good now. She's been dancing. She's been on Beyonce's Renaissance tour all summer. It's the best summer job ever. Little girls are crying when she comes out, like she's inspiring a nation of she's 11. And now this lady's like, she can make $6 million with just $117,000 investment right now. She's been making money since she was a baby. I'm like, what are we doing wrong? Some of us need to be hiring our children or putting them to work right now. So I said, Lou Hutt, tell us what we need to do.
Well, Karen, the first step, and notice what was emphasized, you have to start a business. Now, you talk about that on your show. I talk about it on my show. I say, hey, folks, be entrepreneurial in the way that you think about things. Let's face it, the tax code favors certain things. They favor real estate, if you're a real estate investor, and they favor entrepreneurship, okay? Now, if you are an entrepreneur, which is what you were indicating, and you got to have a legitimate business. So let's get that off the table right now. We're not talking about a sham. We're not talking about something that's, is superficial. We're talking about a legitimate business. Now, it doesn't have to be a major business. For that matter, as you know, Karen, it could be a side hustle. The key is that you generate income. So you demonstrate that it's a bona fide business, and you pay your child for age-appropriate work. Now, let me get something else off the table. When you go this route, the risk of an audit is very high.
Okay, I was going to ask you two things. Legally, because I know you also are a tax lawyer expert, right? Lou Hutt knows all of the things. What about child labor laws? Are you violating those as well?
And that's why sometimes, I'm always I cringe when I hear these sound bites, because I say there's so much more that has to be considered. And you just pointed out, you have child labor laws that are designed to protect young people, especially under the age of 16. So when we talk about hiring your child, first and foremost, you're not talking about putting them in a hazardous occupation. You mentioned Blue Ivy. Hey, that's the perfect situation. You could pay, let's say, a young person, a child, to be a model. You could pay, if you have the right kind of business, to work in the office and develop a website. You could pay them to file documents. Now, of course, we need to keep track of hours. We need to make certain, again, age appropriate, that the hourly wage is not excessive. So it needs to be consistent with market. Frankly, I say to most people, if you want to consider this, you want to go so far as to do a job description. See, you want to have all the formalities possible. Now,
All right, let me ask you this before you go on. Lou Hutt is here, the Lou Hutt Show. Did you put your children to work? Because now your children work with you now. Were they working with you before they were older?
Yes, they did. Now, you know,
on the books though, Lou Hutt. Like, did you file?
No,
You know?
of course. Oh yeah, we have to do that. Now, here's the thing. Okay. Let's be clear about this. There is a limit in which the child's income is tax-free. Now, that income is tied to the standard deduction, which in 2023 is going to be right around $14,000. So in theory, you could pay a young person up to that amount tax-free because they have a standard deduction and wouldn't pay any income taxes. Now, Karen,
hold on, Lou, because people who are listening, they got children, summer jobs. I'm telling y'all something, put them to work. You got up to $14,000 and the IRS won't tax them, which means that's $14,000 basically going into your household for them to, right? Because
hey, Karen, one other thing. If you're running a business, you get to claim this as a deduction.
What?
Expense.
I need to have some children. I got work to do. Come on through.
So listen, this is a double win. I mean, this is double benefit. Your child receives the income, doesn't have to pay income tax. Now, again, we're talking about a legitimate business. I want to emphasize that. I want nobody going out here, half, informed. You got to have a legitimate business, which, quite frankly, Karen, you need to have a relationship with a professional, okay? That's the way I would say it to people. Don't do this without proper guidance. But you can have the business. You can pay the child. Again, work is not hazardous. This is not a violation. And by the way, this tax-free piece that we're talking about only applies if it's a family-owned business. So we're not talking about sending your child to the mall and picking up a retail job. We're talking about a family-owned business, okay? But the bottom line is you get the opportunity to pay them a wage, then you deduct that wage for tax purposes, so that's a benefit to the parents. Then that third layer that you mentioned in that segment that you played, you could qualify for a Roth IRA. Now, here's the condition for those qualified retirement plans that are favored by the tax law. They're favored by the tax law, particularly with the Roth IRA, because even though you don't get a deduction for the contribution, the growth is tax-free. So one leaves it in there until they're 59 and a half. And what was that figure you kicked out, Karen?
What is it?
What was that figure you kicked out? You say if you do roughly $6,500 from now until the time they're 59.
Oh, 117,000.
And it turns into how much?
6 million.
Come on.
Yeah. I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one?